The Aztecs' gods and religion were largely based on the fear of nature and the end of the world. The Aztecs' religion itself featured a very complex interaction of gods, colors, dates, and directions. By the time the Aztecs' empire was at its greatest, the political and religious systems were very closely linked. The actions of the ruling classes and common people can be best understood if we look way back to the Aztec understanding of the creations of the world. According to the ancient Aztec religion, it took the gods 5 attempts to create the earth. So many attempts were needed because the gods kept fighting amongst themselves. Tezcatlipoca, who was the first earth creator, turned into a jaguar and destroyed the world after he was demoted from his important position within the gods. If the world was to be created, the creator god had to become the sun. The gods had a council and decided that one of them must sacrifice themselves to become the new sun so that the earth could be successfully created. Nanuatu, who was a very humble god, became the sun, but there was one problem: he wasn't moving. The gods came to the conclusion that they must all sacrifice themselves so that the humans could live. The god Ehecatl sacrificed the other gods, and the great wind arose to move the sun across the sky. This sacrifice was not free, however, because the Aztec people were required to sacrifice themselves every so often to repay the gods and keep the weak sun moving through the sky every day. Once the sun was dealt with, the world had to be created. Quetzalcoatl, or the father serpent, could create humans. People had been created several times before, so Quetzalcoatl went down into the underworld to retrieve their bones. He tripped as he fled, and the bones shattered into different sized pieces, which according to Aztec religion is why people are different sizes. Quetzalcoatl then added his own blood to the mix so that the Aztec people came to life. The Aztecs now had to pay back what they owed to the gods. They did this in the form of blood. The Aztecs believed that if they continued to pay this never-ending debt, it would prevent the world from ending. The Aztecs took this very seriously, and in doing so they sacrificed several thousand people every year. The Aztecs had 18 months in a cycle, and for every one of the 18 months there was a ritual sacrifice. The victim would be painted, then they would be placed on a slab where their heart would be removed and held up to the sun. The body would be thrown down the stairs of the temple in which the ritual was performed on. The Aztec Empire's own people and their enemies were sacrificed. The warriors were often involved in a special ritual war called Xochitl, meaning flowery war. The aim was to capture the opponents as food for the gods. Both sides of the battle had to fight, and they were usually willing participants. They would be captured instead of killed and then sacrificed. The sacrifices had great religious significance, so it was very important to the Aztec people. However, the need to continue sacrificing their own people was a contributing factor to their downfall, because it greatly weakened an empire that had a much higher potential that was never fully achieved. The religious structure of the Aztec world was that it was divided up into 4 quadrants, and in the center was their city Tenochtitlan. The heavens were divided up into 13 ascending layers, and the underworld 9 descending layers. The temple of Tenochtitlan was also the place where the forces of heaven and earth intersected. The ancient Aztec religion was focused on keeping nature in balance. One full step could lead to a natural disaster. The weak sun could stop moving. The sky was in a constant battle between light and dark. Because of these beliefs, everything must be kept in line and on time, so the Aztec calendar was very precise. The calendar worked on many religious cycles. Every 52 years, the people were terrified that the world would end. All religious fires were put out, and people all over the empire would destroy their furniture and precious items and go into mourning. When the constellation of Pleiades appeared, the people would be assured that they were safe for another 52 years. However, it just so turns out that the next 52-year cycle ends in 2012, and according to many ancient civilizations, prophecies, religion, and modern-day instability, it may just be the last.